George says the government will launch the 1 million coders program on April 16 this year. The initiative is one of the key promises made by President John Dramani Mahama ahead of the 2024 general elections. While addressing the media at the Information Services Department here in Accra on Wednesday, Sam George says his ministry has moved swiftly to turn the president's vision into reality.
Now, what we're doing is, over the next 1 week, the portal is going to be open. It's www.1millioncoders.gov.gh. There are currently 6 courses that are available in 3 disciplines. You can go online, click on it, and fill the form as an applicant. There will be a review of the application, and if you're shortlisted, you would get notification. And we're taking applications for people to go to our physical training centers in Accra, in Kumasi, in Sunyani, and in Bolgatanga. We would launch on the 16th in the 4 centers at the same time, because we're a tech ministry. We can flex more and show that we have technology to connect across the country from 4 areas. So the URL again is www.1millioncoders.gov.gh, and you can fill out the form.
And Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George Nartey, has said that as part of measures to tackle the spread of fake news, a special legislation will soon be presented to Parliament for approval. Well, the minister made this comment at a press conference in Accra.
I am minded by the increased incidence of orchestrated campaigns of mis- and disinformation. I have instructed the Cybersecurity Authority to immediately improve its digital surveillance and monitoring. Several collaborative operations with sister security agencies have been undertaken, and as we speak, some are currently underway, to send a clear signal that such acts of public mis- and disinformation will not be tolerated. The government once again reiterates our respect for the freedom of expression and the rights to public and private communication of citizens, but also wishes to remind us all that we have a collective civic duty to be responsible in our communication. In the spirit of full transparency, I will present a specialized legislative document on misinformation and disinformation before Parliament to be passed into law in its next meeting to create a clear legal framework for law enforcement. So notice is served. Once the law is passed, we will clamp down on you if you engage in mis- and disinformation.
Where the debt portfolio of Airtel Tigo is about $200 million. Well, this Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nartey George, stated that poor management on the part of 2 private entities ran Airtel and Tigo into the ground.
Well, it's one of the biggest headaches I've had, and like I said, this is debt that was not acquired by government, or did not happen by failure of government, but simply by the policymakers' decision to buy a company that was struggling. Poor management on the part of 2 private entities, Bharti Airtel and Millicom Ghana, who had run Airtel and Tigo into the ground. We had no business intervening the way we did to take over $400 million of debt and claim that we had bought the company for $1. But that's where we are today. In the past 8 weeks, I have engaged with ATC at the country level, at the Africa level, and at their national, the headquarters level. I've met with a team from the US on this matter. We have made some headway. I mean, the city value term of the debt to ATC is about 1.5 billion Ghana cedi. We've heard of the incident of a senator threatening to block IMF payments all because of ATC debt. But we've had very constructive conversations even with the American ambassador, and they've come to a position where they are willing to take a significant haircut. As it stands right now, the offer on the table is somewhere in the region of about 500 million. So we are saving about $1 billion of the debt. We are getting them to write that off. But I'm still pushing for even more to drive the what is outstanding even further down. And we're not doing it all in cash. We're doing it in a mix of cash, tax, and a few other assets that we can look at, so that the real liability sitting there that we need to pay readily with cash now has dropped from about $190 million to about $10 million. That's the kind of negotiation we've done in the last 8 weeks.
Away from that story, the Ghana Used Clothing Dealers Association has debunked claims that 40% of its imported used clothing ends up as waste in landfills, burning sites and beaches across the country. Well, to register their displeasure, members of the association embarked on a sit-down strike with support from the Ghana Union of Traders Association. The Second-Hand Clothing Dealers Association at Kantamanto has declared a one-day strike to express their frustration over what they describe as an attempt by an organization to undermine their businesses. Well, the Trades Union Congress has strongly opposed any attempt to privatize the electricity company of Ghana, beg your pardon, when warning that such a move could result in skyrocketing electricity tariffs and the mass dismissal of workers. Well, speaking at the press conference in Accra on Thursday during the annual National Executive Council meeting of the Public Utility Workers Union of TUC, General Secretary Timothy Nyame stressed that ECG could thrive if these challenges were properly addressed.
Or you social inclined. Say, you are not sure. The human urban, or Mama in I, another opinion is easy. Initial but when you ask an agreement, you pay, or a different story altogether. The abundance say, abandon easy to the area, often food. Let them Yama, also, then about 5, 7, 10 years, it's more managing directors by the son of Abu. Obiasuba or Nagina was a man. The political differences and the child, it may easy to
From that story, the Supreme Court has indefinitely adjourned the hearing of the critical application challenging the procedures being used to determine a prima facie case for the potential removal of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. The adjournment announced on Wednesday was promoted by the absence of the Attorney General's office, significantly impacting the proceedings. However, Godfred Dame expressed surprise at the absence of the Attorney General.
It was quite odd for him to say that state attorneys are at a conference and for that matter, all the cases in the country should be adjourned. He is not a state attorney. He could not come to court. A matter as important as the removal of the Chief Justice. He couldn't come or extend the case to a court by attending. The deputy attorney was also not a state attorney. He couldn't come. And what makes it more odd is the fact that they sent state attorneys, not even one but two senior state attorney, to come inform the court that they are at a conference and so the matter should be adjourned. That is all. Well, there's an application for interlocutory injunction pending. So why would anybody proceed? I find it quite interesting and quite odd and be the height of a disregard for the rule of law. if they proceed in that manner.
So as far as you are concerned, you expect the President to halt the constitution of the Council of State while this is pending?
It is not my expectation. It is the expectation of the law. The law expects that such regard for due process be observed. And so it will be actually a confirmation of their disregard for the rule of law. And I think that you should see the affidavit filed by the Attorney General. So,
I mean, there are those who have made reference to the fact that in that affidavit, he makes the point that there is no law that requires a fair hearing to be given to the Chief Justice. And there are some who are also saying that even under the previous government, the President gave a hearing after he had referred the matter to the Council of State already.
I would say that the Lord has a fine way of exposing the hearts and desires of men. The Lord has an interesting way of exposing the hearts, the true desires of men. And indeed, it's been evidence in the affidavit filed by the Attorney General. They did not intend to accord any right of hearing to the Chief Justice until the matter was filed. And they indicated it in the affidavit. So it's quite clear. It's okay. I'll leave it at that. The merit will be determined by the court. We'll argue in court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Metro.
Let's move to Kumasi in the Ashanti region, where newly confirmed Chief Executive of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly KMA, Richard Ofori Ajimambuedi, has issued a strong warning to traders operating on pavement within the Central Business District and Central Market to vacate their spot immediately. Was speaking after his confirmation on Thursday, Mr. Ofori Ajimambuedi announced that the KMA would roll out a sweeping decongestion exercise in the coming weeks.
Bylaws and regulations that manages our city. So if you are selling on the pavement, adjust yourself. If you are in the middle of any dual carriage road, especially within the Central Business District, please take steps, get out of the place, because from Wednesday we'll be coming out, we'll get on the streets. We're going to make sure that we clear Kumasi of all the filth that we see around, and then we'll begin to take steps that for this year I would have to work within the budget that was prepared in October of last year. But in our subsequent budgets, then my new programs will begin to emerge. But so I have a different strategy of this decongestion. I don't believe in bringing military men there and then they will spend so much money, keep them for a period of 3 months, and immediately they go away, everybody comes. Everybody wants to sell in Edu. It's the reason why they are there. We'll find some.
Let's move away from that, where Minority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyomarkin, has condemned the storming of the House of Dasin South MP, Reverend Ntim Forjo, by officials of the National Intelligence Bureau. Well, the National Intelligence Bureau officials on April 9, Monday, engaged in a stand force with the ranking member of Parliament, Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend Ntim Forjo, in an attempt to effect his arrest. Was some resident of the Minority Caucus rushed to the house of the colleague MP to intervene and prevent them from arresting him.
What the government is doing is completely wrong. You know, in Parliament, you are the leader. The speaker has a directive, and this was agreed upon with the security agencies, that when members of Parliament are needed for any such matter, they write to speaker. The speaker would arrange to release a member, and then in the speaker's conference room they can do the interrogation or whatever they want to do. I don't understand why government is defying such arrangement with Parliament. So we are going to prompt Mr. Speaker of this happening. The Minister of Interior, who has responsibility for national security matters, who himself is a member of Parliament, would also be written to, because we don't understand this Rambo style approach. When we know that in the 6th, 7th and 8th Parliament, and in fact even in this 9th Parliament, we've had such practice. What we saw here this morning really was in a very bad taste. to get armed police, bring NIB officials to come. There no MP is safe, no politician is safe.
But do you feel this impunity has been breached one or the other?
His what?
Immunity, pardon me.
But it is clear. What they've done is a breach of privilege and immunity. It's obvious.
Leader, do we get the indication that they've written to the speaker? The speaker.
Listen to me. No, please. Please, there is no such. There's no. If any letter had been written, it would have been brought to my notice.
Okay.
When a letter was written for Kwame.
Now before. MP. Honorable Reverend John in Team for you. Nifie, say, and come more quacquino. Yes, sir, say, some more dinner. Security agencies, so what they call the Fieno. Among Fasa, and what dinner. And yet they, and yet you should mind your writing for those who say, in the bonnet, any sikabi about a pen be about the far echo. Amonia. I want to ask you, and now on my penny Mahama, a directing security agencies leading now, not about to me either. I him. See, said the Kamia said, Ghana has said, no, to me, and be one and tell the beer. And I said, the big cost won't to me and Casse. I dare say, and air cost. And now to say, won't to me and play a bino, and now say, and be a saying the airport. Now you renting for your excellent and then offer her not a police for a town, offer her not a soldier for a town, offer her not national security for a town. Timon for a while says out. Yet, yes, say, on my penny Mahama. Yes, let's overflow Mantiano. Yes, let's overflow.
From that story, the managing director of State Housing Company, John Bauer, has hinted at the government move to create a mortgage desk to make access to mortgages easier and more accessible here in Ghana. Or he noted that this initiative will create opportunities for Ghanaians to explore affordable housing options.
Our only difference is that we are owned by the government and people of Ghana and design policy for the industry. So that direction is going to come from the ministry. On the ground, we are the pace setters. So whatever the ministry is trying to introduce into the market, we need to take the lead on that. And this way, we can pull everybody else along with that. Well, we have a unique advantage in terms of access to land. Majority of the lands that we develop on are provided by the state. So land that has been acquired through EIs by the state is put in trust, in the trust of state housing to manage and develop on. So access to land has been one of our key advantages in the real estate sector. And so I believe that that kind of solves the issue of, the challenges people have with accessing land. And your other side of your question was the inputs bit. Well, look, if you look around, bamboo is not scarce in Ghana. If you look around, laterite, sand, gravel is not scarce. The missing gap has been the technology to convert all of those locally accessible materials into usable elements for our construction. And so what we are looking at today as State Housing is partnering with private sector technology developers and the people that are producing the machines that convert the earth into pressed or compressed earth blocks, so that they can advance the machines to us. Government is quite tight on the budget this year and next year. So we're looking at them to advance the equipment to us to be able to deliver the housing. We have a lot of Ghanaians who are happy to buy houses from State Housing because of the reliability, the trust in what we do. And so once we sell the houses, then we can pay back for the machines that we bring. So this is how we're looking to do those things. Two specific things that we're doing very quickly. One is we're establishing a mortgage desk. So there's a mortgage specialist joining our team who's going to help our buyers access mortgages at competitive rates to be able to buy our properties. Secondly, we had our first meeting with Commercial Bank on helping finance purchases for home buyers as well as finance the construction of our project. So we are looking forward to all of these interventions, giving us the results we're looking for to make Ghanaians be able to access affordable housing.
Away from that story, President Petr Pavel of the Czech Republic has commissioned a 40-bed municipal hospital here in the Greater Accra region. Well, the Ministry of Health said the facility was built, which was built by the Czech company VAM Health Project CZ SRO, had modern medical amenities. Well, President Pavel, in his address during the commission, expressed his country's deep pride in its collaboration with Ghana during a recent address.
It's really good than opening a hospital, opening a facility that will serve for people in need. And I hope that this hospital will serve to local people and that many would come early. So let me wish all the staff of this hospital that it is a great facility for them to work in, and to all of you who would need its services that you find.
Started by previous government in order to score cheap political points. Our vision is to operationalize all commission hospitals to allow all communities to enjoy equitable access to quality health care. Further to the brick and mortar work of constructing hospitals, we are introducing the free primary health care initiative, ensuring that barriers such as financing are removed so no one is deprived of the care they deserve.
Now let's do stories on illegal mining activity, popularly known as Galamsey, where the Central North Regional Police Command's Anti-Galamsey Task Force has arrested individuals for engaging in illegal mining activity.